What's going on, everyone, and welcome to the KoloCast, a weekly show hosted by myself, Mr.Aquaman, and Flashyy over there. What's going on, Flashyy?
What is going on, Aquaman? Happy to be here as always. And today's guest, I never thought I was going to say this on the show, but somebody might actually have you beat in the mustache department, my friend. I'm sorry, but I think it might have officially happened. Aquaman, you might not want to because he's got a better mustache than you, but bring him on in. Who's our guest today? Bring him in.
Our guest today is none other than CGL's founder, Knippz, and off of what Flashyy said, I can say that we were just hanging out in person about a month ago, and Knippz, and I quote, well, I don't remember the exact quote. That was a lot of drinks ago, but he said that my stash was superior in person. I just want to put that out there.
Okay.
Out of the man's mouth himself, but look at it now, Knippz, I gotta give you credit. From then until now, that thing is filled out quite a bit. It's looking pretty good, man. How you been?
Thanks. Thank you very much. I've been pretty well. I've been very busy, but quite well. How about yourself?
Really good to hear, man. We've been grinding over here at the Kolosseum, working on another big series. I'm about, not to give it too much away, but I think I'm about 95% on the next series and letting it rip and all that fun stuff. But in the meantime, we've got the KoloCast here, where we're bringing on a bunch of people from the community, and we definitely wanted to bring you on, Knippz, because you've done so much for the community for the past few years. One of the godsends, in those awkward times when we don't know what's going on competitively at an official capacity, and there hasn't been much to keep the competition going. You have done a great job of stepping in and kind of helping fill that void, not just in the competitive fighting game space, which is what we know here at the Kolosseum, but you've been doing it all over the place with console gaming in general, and that's what CGL is kind of all about, is it not? And feel free to just tell us all about CGL and kind of how you got started.
Yeah. I have a big passion for Mortal Kombat in our community, but we cover a lot of different things at CGL. CGL stands for Console Gaming League. We cover console esports, essentially. So we do a number of titles like Overwatch, Apex, Mortal Kombat, Injustice. Got some Guilty Gear coming up. We've got Halo coming up.
Dead by Daylight. I can think of maybe one or two others. You're all over the place,
man. Yeah, it's hard to keep up with, actually.
I mean, honestly, first question out of the gate: how do you handle that much? Because I can't handle the one.
So we've got a very good team at CGL that helps manage and move things along without having a over the shoulder, having a micromanage or anything. It's just a big team effort, and you see that both inside and out with our team as well, like our Mortal Kombat team and our creator team. So
If I'm not mistaken, you guys at CGL, you sponsor players, you host tournaments, you're selling merch. My question here is, what was kind of the catalyst or the inspiration to start all of this? Because some people just kind of stick with, one of those two. They're like, we're just going to sponsor, we're just going to host tournaments, we just want to sell merch. What was the catalyst and the inspiration for you guys to be like, yeah, we're going to do a little bit of everything?
So hosting tournaments was an idea that I wanted to do just because. So I'm pretty old, actually. I'm 32.
Old gang?
And yeah, you're in your 20s. You can.
I'm 30. I'm there. I'm ready.
You're lying.
I'm right at the top of the mountain, ready to fall.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So we so back in the day when I was in high school, I used to play some competitive shooters. There's a game called Shadowrun. I played a little Halo.
Ooh.
Perfect Dark Zero back on the Xbox 360. And I always wanted something like this. I used to play through like game battles, which was pretty fun. I was the best at everything. And then, so that was back in the day. There wasn't really anything happening. So I had to go to college and quit playing. Internet was terrible at college. So couldn't play online, couldn't do much. Went to school for business and finance, went into that, and then after I did it for a little bit, made some money, I realized that it's not that satisfying at the end of the day, so I wanted to get back into gaming. And then ultimately, like, there was still nothing out there for console players, which is a big base, and it's usually like kind of the lower to middle class gamer, if you will, which is kind of how I grew up, was very lower class. So since there was nothing and I had the resources, I figured let's give it a shot.
When you first started console gaming, was it just you, or did, like you said, you have a team now? Was it always that team that you have with you? Did it kind of grow with more employees, or what was kind of just the building blocks of everything starting out?
No, so I actually, I was trying to come up with an idea, like, to get into gaming to where I could transition out of what I do professionally, which is mortgages. So it's not bad. It's just pretty boring. I got into playing Overwatch, and then found this competitive Overwatch tournament organizer, actually, and they did things pretty darn well. So I talked to them about expanding out and doing different things other than Overwatch, and that's kind of how I got into it.
That's a pretty crazy game to get into as well, which is Overwatch, because I don't know how things are now, but I remember when I looked into things back in the day, it was a game that was hard to organize tournaments for, because you had to go through, if I remember correctly, approval from Blizzard. You had to go through all these other hoops that you had to jump through, and even then it's hard to get the visibility because the game is so big. You got, all these other massive tournaments going on, but you kind of, what we've talked about with some other guests on this show is you found something that no one else was kind of doing or focusing on, which was console. Every shooter esport I've ever seen in my life has been PC and PC only, and so I thought that was really smart for you guys to jump onto the console train, which is where fighting games are naturally, but in the shooters was an even crazier thing to get into, and so massive props on that.
Yeah, so shooters, candidly, so a lot of people don't know this since I get more into the fighting game scene, but shooters are where my passion lies. So, but Mortal Kombat is what I grew up on. So that's how I kind of got into the MK.
Hey.
We can get more into that, but
which Mortal Kombat?
The very first game I remember playing, like, so much, is actually Mortal Kombat 1.
Ooh, I mean,
Jeez.
That goes back right there.
It holds a special place in my heart. I probably overcommitted a little bit on that end, but I don't feel bad about it.
Hey man,
it's been fun.
It was the 90s. No one cared.
Yeah.
It was. Mine was Trilogy, believe it or not. A lot of people think that I'm a lot more old school than I appear, but I got into Trilogy as a casual, and then I didn't play a Mortal Kombat until Deadly Alliance. So there was like a nice, like, almost 20-year or 10-year gap, and even playing for me back then. So man, your roots go really far back and really deep in the community. So that's really cool.
I'm really old.
With age comes experience.
So it's been fun. I never thought I would be hosting a Mortal Kombat tournament. So, like, as a kid, that's like a dream scenario. So it's pretty cool to be doing it as an adult.
Well,
it's a lot of fun.
You've been absolutely crushing it, man. You run your own series, and you're partnered with some of the biggest series that are in the community, even outside of you guys. Partnered with Destroyer and Caboose, running Champions of the Realms. You're partnered with Dream Eater now with the Nightmare series, so that's covering Xbox and PlayStation at the same time, on top of what you guys have done. And again, just massive props on that. So I guess my question is, you've kind of already knocked out so much. You've even done charity events within the community, raising a lot of money for a lot of great charities. But where do you potentially see yourself going from here, since you've already kind of accomplished so much in the scheme of things as an organizer, as a supporter of competitive Mortal Kombat?
Offline.
Ooh.
So I want to cover more fighting games as well. It's a little bit more difficult in fighting games to do online because the netcode's so bad in the majority of titles. Those tournaments are just, and they're rough.
It's a nightmare.
It's like running a Mortal Kombat tournament for Africa.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Similar experience for like other titles like Killer Instinct. As much as I love the game and want to run more events for it, it is rough. So, if we can transition offline, we can cover a lot more titles. I really want to host a major. We need Pro Tours to kind of be back in rotation. We'll probably need some new titles to be released. So that's probably a year or two out, I would expect. But that's where I'd like to go.
Fingers crossed. Come on, NetherRealm. Drop it.
Yeah, so I don't expect that to be coming anytime soon. So it's kind of right now. We'll see what we can do for NRS. We've got some things cooking, and then hopefully we can get back to live events sooner than later.
I kind of have a two-part question here. The first part is going to kind of talk about the whole hosting event things. What do you guys as organization do to sit down and decide what games you're going to get into? You know, you're talking a lot about ones that mean a lot to you. What's kind of that conversation like when you're thinking about exploring a new game for CGL?
It's typically what makes sense. So in shooting titles, it's a little different each way. Shooting titles, it's going to be what's most popular. So for the most part, our Overwatch is very big. So we have the biggest Overwatch, console Overwatch scene by a massive margin. I don't know if there's anybody else doing it, to be candid. We actually have, I think we have the 4th largest Overwatch Discord in the world.
Ooh, I mean, that's pretty
huge.
damn impressive.
Yeah, that's gotta be a huge.
So our Overwatch is real big. Our Apex is really big too. I think it's about the size of the Overwatch, but that's still pretty big for console. Fighting games is whatever we can do netcode wise. So we're a little bit more restricted there. Shooting games tend to have great netcode, so it's not too much of an issue. Mm-hmm. Fighting games, it's a little navigation.
Indeed it is. So now, part 2 of what I wanted to ask you. So we talked a little bit about hosting tournaments. You guys, I mentioned before, CGL sponsors players. From an organization standpoint, I know we have a lot of competitive players that watch the podcast, stuff like that. And I don't think we've ever had this opportunity to talk from this angle. What is it that an organization is looking for when sponsoring a player specifically or a content creator?
I can't speak for all organizations there. I can speak to
what you look for in someone.
Yes.
So currently it's a combination of things right now in this state of affairs with the pandemic. Content creation has more weight than tournaments just because offlines aren't really too much of a thing. There's no positive return on investment, so I don't look at it in that aspect. Content creation usually has a better ROI if you're looking at any sort of gains for a sponsor themselves. So it's a combination of doing really good content creation and then maybe competitive, maybe not. Right now, whenever offlines come back, then it's straight ruthless competitors.
Is that what you look for? Those ruthless guys that go right for the throat?
Yeah, I mean, the last time we had offlines, I had Ninja Killa on the team.
That's pretty ruthless right there. That's...
We got Tweety. Also very ruthless. I've got some names that I've talked to, but it just... Right now, things don't make sense. That could be ruthless. So that's more of a fun passion thing, but right now it's more so creators.
Which, I mean, you kind of hit the nail on that. As of right now, we're in such a different time than before when offlines were happening. Everything has changed, you know, for all of us putting events together. it's a completely different field that we're working with. And something else that you brought up was return on investment, and that's something that, talking to players over the past few years, especially when the Pro Tour started really kicking up, players really couldn't wrap their mind around. They just thought of someone like you as someone that was going to give them money to do what they do, and that was it. And not a lot of them thought in the way of a return on investment of what are you worth and how are they going to make that money back, and potentially more than some, because then they're just breaking even with their name attached to you. You know, how are they going to make money off of your name? And almost no top players that I spoke to, and this was a few years ago, had that mentality. They were just, oh, I want a sponsor, pay me money, and that's it. But not a lot of them think in terms of actually getting a return, and that's where content creators are the ones thriving, because at the end of the day, there's almost no way to make money in this space, to me, without being able to sell something. You got to be able to sell something in order to make something, you know what I mean? And so is that something that you look for in your content creators? And have you run into that with previous players by chance when you first started getting into the scene?
Yeah, so I would say actually, so awareness of value is very key. I would actually say a majority of the players under CGL right now reached out to me. I didn't reach out to them. And they had a value presentation. And they had awareness of value and what's necessary. So there's not anybody I can think of on the roster right now that doesn't contribute in one end or the other very well.
And that's a tip for all of you competitors and creators out there, man. You know, go out there and don't just be like, hey, sponsor me. As Knippz just said, they proposed something. They had a value proproposition.
Tell them your worth. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So that is definitely a big tip for any competitors or anybody in the content creation space. You gotta go out there and you gotta show what you can do, and not just be like, hey, sponsor me because I placed third. You know, so I think that's definitely really awesome to hear. Now, going back to CGL as a company, what are some of the biggest challenges that you faced, maybe some that you weren't even expecting to face when you first started the company, and how did you go about overcoming them?
Like, we stumped him on that one.
No.
Or it's just too much.
It's like everything
went wrong.
And I just don't know how I'm here anymore.
No, I would say two things. So, like, people... So a lot of this is volunteer work, to be candid. There's not money being made, so there's not money to go around.
Most online tournaments, so everyone watching at home knows, is pretty much like that right now.
Like, I pay per event. I pay everybody who works. Like, I pay the staff, but it's all a negative when it comes to online, at least at this point for us. Until we have others contributing, which we've had some opportunities to help fund these things, so that'll help in the future. But volunteer work is hit or miss whenever it comes to committing committals from people. So I would say that's probably been the biggest struggle. So it leaves a lot of weight on those who are committed shoulders. Number two is we just had an instance where we brought a very crazy person on staff, and it caused a whole lot of trouble.
That
a good amount of time. That made me learn a good lesson in life. But other than that, it's been pretty smooth. It's been pretty nice, I would say.
That's awesome.
One note, just while I'm thinking about it, I forgot to mention VGY as a killer, and Josh. The VGY is one of my killers. He's a champion. Actually, my first MK champion. I can't believe I forgot him. So.
Oh, shout him out. Shouts to VGY out there.
Nasty, yeah.
And of course,
yeah, so on top of all the things you were mentioning, now that you just brought it up, is that you also have Kunoichi going on, and we've already talked about 50 other thousand things that you've got going on, but Kunoichi's done a really good job of showcasing the women of the community, and you've also got a couple of tournament series just with them, you know, almost like a tournamentception going on within your own brand, which is insane.
Yeah, so got into doing like the women esports thing, and then I messed up, but ended up creating Kunoichi basically with Infinity and Candy as kind of the main drivers behind the branding and the mission. So that's been fantastic. It's been very fun. Great opportunity to try to progress that scene and progress women esports in general. So anything we can do on that end is always very satisfying and very fun to do. I love it. It's fantastic, and those ladies are the best at everything.
You picked Infinity. Has to be, I think, one of the best representations, I think, of competitive Mortal Kombat in general. Just someone that grinds, puts in the work, is a killer in her own right, and has been such a wonderful representative for women, I think, in gaming overall. She is just one of my personal favorite players of all time, believe it or not, is Infinity. So shouts to you for picking her up and giving her a platform as well to just do her thing. And that's really, to me, been the most impressive thing is just kind of watching you put all this together, but at the same time, like you said, not kind of being an overlord on everything, but letting everyone do their thing and kind of letting it blossom that way. It's been really cool to watch.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It really has. Watching all these people blossom it's been really beautiful thing to see. And Slayer, especially, he's doing phenomenal as well.
To piggyback off of that, or off of a previous conversation, we actually met offline about a month ago, and was that your first? It was Mash House, Texas, by the way. You can go watch it. I believe it's on the CGL YouTube, if I'm not mistaken, Knippz.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
On the CGL YouTube, we'll try to link that in the description down below. I got to be there, and so this is a shameless plug. If you guys want to go see me actually do all right at an offline. But was that one of your first steps into what you said you wanted to do next, which is offline tournaments? Was that kind of your foot in the door?
Yeah. So tester event basically. Wanted to do a few of those or a couple of those just to get some experience and get my foot in the water on that end before the opportunity comes up to do something bigger. I want to make sure I execute very well whenever we do our first major. I want to have a we play type of experience, to be candid. So
that's a high bar.
CGL tends to deliver on most things, so I really want to deliver. Fingers crossed.
Did you run into anything that caught you off guard in that kind of first offline experience, and did you realize anything was incredibly different from the online experience?
No.
Ooh, pretty much the same issues and stuff that you run into.
It actually went better than I expected.
Oh, nice.
To be candid,
I was there, and it was smooth.
Like, we had technical difficulties, don't get me wrong. Like, the first half of the day, we didn't even get streamed. But, was it unexpected? No. I expected that to kind of happen for the first event, so that's what they're for. So, yeah, no, it actually went really well. It has me excited to do more, and has me brainstorming different ideas to maybe get some offlines going, some more limited offlines going until things open up. So yeah. Really
I think I speak for everybody when I say that we cannot wait to see what kind of offlines you guys make. I mean, offlines are just such a great experience, and from the team over at CGL, we know you guys are just gonna knock it out of the park. So I think I definitely speak for everybody when I say we're all super excited to see what you got with that. And now we kind of talked a little bit about, Aquaman brought it up. He brought up the YouTube channel.
I did.
And this is interesting because we've always had creators or competitors. We've never had a quote unquote, face of an organization on the show. So my question is, what does the YouTube or the social media plan, without leaking any of your personal, things that go on behind closed doors, what does the social media and YouTube plan look like for an organization? Do you guys put a lot of weight on it? Is it kind of just there? What do you guys how do you guys view social media and YouTube?
So they're extremely important, both of them. for your growth if you want to try to do anything big with the platform. Sustainability. At the end of the day, sustainability is the number one goal for the organization right now. Without me spending money out of my own bank account or pocket to allow it to operate. YouTube is a great opportunity. I mean, there's a huge, tremendous monetary opportunity on that platform, and that's a huge opportunity for sustainability. Social is what drives everything else. That's your awareness platform, and that's also what sponsors look to as analytics, good analytics for your social numbers.
Yep.
So they both just create opportunities. They're both the most important things. I would give myself about a C- grade on management in the last year of our platforms in those capacities, but we are working diligently to improve those. I actually met about that today.
Ooh.
Is there any plan to create? Because I was looking at your guys' YouTube, and I see that it's like a lot of just like the VODs of the tournament, which is amazing. You know, I think all organizations for whatever it is are doing that. Is there any plan to create YouTube specific content, maybe with your players or around the tournaments that you run or anything like that? Is there a plan for that in the future?
Yeah, that's ideal. So right now it's more of like an archive, which isn't ideal at all.
Yep.
So
Preaching to the choir.
I've got to hire somebody ultimately who can manage the content. I don't have the time. It's a struggle with the time, basically.
It's a lot.
So we just,
It's a lot.
I need to bring somebody on board.
Just being completely candid with you, Knippz, that's exactly what I did with Flashyy here, was that I was like, you know what, I'm not touching it. I'm never going to touch it. I'm old enough to admit.
He's like, you deal with it. Here you go, man. I'm just like, all right, shit.
I think he reached out to me, and he was like, dude, you could be doing so much better with YouTube. And I went,
Yeah.
well, I'm not going to do it.
It's like, just give me the passwords. I'll do it.
And kudos to you. I commend you for doing it. It's the right thing to do, in my opinion. It's exactly what I would advise anybody to do in your shoes, or in the scene as well as an aspiring creator. So it's pretty awesome, honestly.
I think that, and especially what's going on with, not to bring up incredibly recent news, but you know, with the way Twitch has been going, I feel like YouTube is getting even more and more and more important as content creators to get that sustainable growth.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing is just cross-pollinate, essentially. So having your foot in a bunch of different baskets, and having multiple revenue sources at the end of the day.
We got to do a TikTok now, man.
A couple $100 here and there from different things, that adds up, and that'll bring you to the sustainability to be able to keep doing it and continue to grow and continue to increase those revenue sources as a result. So that's my number one piece of advice for any creator.
Love to hear it, man. Absolutely love to hear it. So now I got a question about you. We've talked a lot about CGL, but I would like to know a little bit more about Knippz. What does the day-to-day look like? You said you've been working a lot. Can we break down what the day-to-day looks like of a esports organization founder?
Did he just go from Did he just go from gamer Knippz to regular Knippz before?
Yeah,
Here we go.
every day.
That was a metamorphosis.
That was awesome. Yeah, what does the day-to-day look like for an esports organization's founder and CEO?
From about 7 to 5 or 6, I work my day job. It keeps me pretty busy. I'll try to answer DMs or do like necessary things throughout the day when I have breaks, but those hours are pretty off limits a lot of the times. After that, it's a scramble to get some food, and then address anything that I have to do with the organization for that day. And basically spend the rest of the evening working on stuff until I go to bed. And then do it again.
That's working 2 full-time jobs right there.
Crazy,
and
man.
yeah, that's just an insane level of kudos. When I first started hosting events, it was while I was working full-time and doing it as well. But do you find that it's still absolutely worth it? Because I knew when I was like, it's still 100% worth it.
Yeah, definitely. No, my commitment level is still, I would say, what it was whenever I started. Now, my focus level can go up and down,
Hey, that's
depending on what's most important at the time. So, like the last couple months, I've been actually more focused on work, but that allows me to spend more time on CGL over the next 2 months. So, it's a bounce back and forth until we build that sustainability.
Yes, and one thing that I commend you a lot on is you were talking a lot about before, like the ROI, which is return on investment for those of you guys listening, the money that's coming in. You said often it's like there's like not much happening, and the fact that you're still, busting your ass during the day, 11 hours, and then still just pushing everything you can at the end of the day for those 5-6 hours. That just goes to show, man, like if you truly believe in something, to anybody out there listening, if you truly believe in something and you care about it, like fuck the money coming in. The money will be there eventually. You got to bust your ass at first, and so much respect, man. Full-time job plus running an organization and having employees and players and things like that under your shoulders. It's like, dude, crazy. But yeah, so much respect to anybody that they don't let the fact that no money's coming in stop them. And I think that speaks a lot to creators or competitors, where at the beginning they're probably like, oh yeah, I'm super jazzed up and I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna make YouTube videos, and then they get like 35 cents over the course of 2 months, and they're like, nope, I'm not doing it anymore.
And then they're out.
And the money impacts them. But if you could just kind of keep a level head and stay focused and understand what the end goal is, it's badass, man. Super badass.
Thanks, man. I like to look. I mean, if I've seen anybody do something, then I know it can be accomplished. So I encourage other people to think that way as well. It's just a matter of setting out a plan on how you're going to do it and doing it.
Hey,
yeah, literally.
Just do it. That's it right there. Just do it.
That's gonna be the title of the episode.
Well, you want to have a plan.
Oh,
Plans
yeah,
are
plan
good.
and then
plan,
and
then do.
Damn, I need to write that down because I skip right to just doing it, and
yeah, I forget the plan part.
Yeah, there's no plan. It's okay. We're live in 10. Wait, what?
Let's just go.
No. Fine if you want something bad enough. Just kind of.
Well, hell yeah, man! You've been making it work, and nothing but props. I'm trying to think of a question that's kind of outside of the gaming world as well. And the only thing that I can focus on right now, and I'm sure someone on the YouTube comments will say something about this because they usually do anytime Tool comes up in any of my videos. But you got a wonderful shirt on right there, Knippz, and I have to ask you first off, if you guys don't know, that's a shirt for the band Tool. I know both myself and Knippz are massive fans. Is that your favorite album?
Fear Inoculum?
Yes.
No.
Ooh, what's your favorite album?
Probably
Ooh, okay. Popular choice, but really hard to argue.
Everybody says Lateralis, I feel, but
really,
which I think is I love, but yeah, I would say Arma.
Lateralis happens to be my favorite one as well. So shouts to Tool on that. Tool Army, if you guys are in the YouTube comments, let me know. For some reason, Flashyy, I know that might surprise you. The Tool Army's massive on YouTube, and they just show up everywhere. It's insane. And even someone from our community did a reaction video to a Tool video. It's one of her biggest. Yeah, it's one of her biggest videos because it was Tool. It's insane. So
Molly's a creator under Kunoichi, by the way. So a lot of people don't realize this.
Synergy.
Molly is our biggest creator under CGL or
reaction videos.
Kunoichi. Yeah, those Tool reaction videos murder.
Oh, yeah.
She's already got like 20K views on it.
Jeez.
Yeah, she's doing really well. Shout out to Molly.
Yeah, she's been killing it, and those are reaction videos on YouTube, and that's such diversity in your team too, in your content creation team, because you've got just in Kunoichi alone, you've got streamers, you've got competitors, and you've got different forms of content creators outside of just streaming. I think Molly's a streamer and YouTuber at the same time, and covers a lot of different media, not just music, but movies and shows and all that kinds of other stuff.
That's one thing that's awesome about Kunoichi versus CGL is I can be a little bit more diverse with it because it's not restricted to console esports. Mm-hmm. So it's pretty fun.
Is there any plans for CGL?
We have a very diverse team there too.
Is there any plans for CGL to branch out to quote unquote non-gaming situations, or is it or maybe you like you just said Kunoichi would probably be the way where it's gonna go, but like non-gaming focused creators or anything like that?
Not at the moment.
Got it. Got it. Sticking with gaming. I respect it.
No, I personally might start a YouTube channel.
Do it. Listen, if you need someone to grill you about it, I wasn't gonna do it. But if
He
you need
grills
someone to
every
grill you
viewer.
about
He
it,
does it.
I will happily tell you about all the perks of starting your own YouTube channel if you need me to sit here and do that for 20 minutes.
Yeah, I'll definitely talk to you after this.
Let's do it. Let's definitely do it, man. I think it is a no-brainer and everybody should do it. Anybody who's anybody needs to start a YouTube channel, and yeah, we'll have a little chat after this, definitely.
Heck yeah, and when it comes out, let us know so that we can drop it in the description for everyone at home.
Absolutely.
But for right now, you guys can find CGL. Is it CGL1 on YouTube, Knippz? I'm trying to think of it off the top of my head. I believe it's the same, right?
On YouTube, it's like Console Gaming League.
Console Gaming League?
Search Console Gaming League. Twitter, it's Console Gaming LG. Instagram, it's just Console Gaming League. Twitch is CGL1. Kunoichi is Kunoichi CGL. Kunoichi events run on CGL1 Twitch, by the way. We're one big family. And then you can find me at right below. Right there.
Yeah, right there. Yeah, that little thing right there, and below in the description. Before we let you go, can you give us any insight as to what you might have coming up next? Not just with Mortal Kombat, but just anything CGL or Knippz related?
Personal related, I'm waiting on my Tesla Model S Plaid to show up in the next week or two, hopefully.
He's been waiting for like 6 years on it.
It's the fastest car in the world, so I'm super excited. For CGL, like I mentioned, we've got some stuff coming up. Halo, Guilty Gear. Nickelodeon tournament. Hopefully, like next week.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, I just want to get one out right away.
Yeah.
Try to get one going like next weekend.
Absolutely.
And then, is the netcode good for that? By the way,
I have no idea. I haven't.
We'll be testing it if it's possible. We're making it happen.
I've heard it's okay. This is gonna sound really bad, and I know this is a show, but I heard it's really bad on console specific. So we may want to look at. That's just what I've heard. Look at the.
Oh, here we go.
But
all I wanted to see was the CGL Nickelodeon All Stars tournament. Just ruined it.
I still want to make it happen. Maybe
that's right.
We have the scene.
Nobody
has to know what people are playing.
That's right. That's a good note from an organizational standpoint, is that it's probably the biggest and smartest thing to do from an organizational standpoint is to jump on the latest game. That I've always seen the biggest successes come from someone that is willing to not just hop on the latest game, but step out of their comfort zone. So like someone like me that only does Mortal Kombat, if another fighting game comes out, I don't give a shit. I don't care at all. I'm an NRS guy. But
saying I watch all our
say what?
Not saying I watch all our turn.
Yeah, that's fair point right there. But for you to have the at least presence of mind to go, hey, this is coming out. We know it's going to be huge. Let's jump on it. That alone is setting you up for successes later on. The more you do that, the more people, especially in a game like Nickelodeon, I don't even know the full name of it, All-Star Brawl 64. I don't know what it's called exactly, but that has the potential, with knowing how big Smash was and is, to get a lot of eyes on you guys. And so I think that's a really smart thing to do, and hope you continue to keep doing things like that. And that's probably going to do it for us here at Knippz. It's been awesome to get to know you a little bit more and what you got going on. CGL, you got one more thing? Hit me with it.
Yeah, one more thing. I do have something pretty intimate and hopefully real special planned for the NRS community that I'll be working on. Yeah, you can keep taking that shirt off. He's going to be working with me, hopefully. So, stay tuned.
Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully, I get a little more than myself involved. Maybe we get some cross pollination with the Kolosseum going on between CGL. It's definitely long overdue with you working with everyone in this space, because we love spreading the love as well. And thank you so much for coming on here, Knippz. Console Gaming League, one of the best in the business. You guys need to go check them out. Go check them out. We'll put them in the description. Flashyy, I'm gonna let you take us home here tonight.
Absolutely, Knippz. Awesome to talk to you, man. Great to get to know you. CGL is absolutely crushing it. You guys just don't stop, man, and the sky's the limit for you all. And for those of you guys that stay to the end, you got to hear a little thing of what's around the corner potentially with Kolosseum and CGL. So we appreciate everybody that's listening. Again, be sure to give Knippz a follow. All of the things are down in the description. Just go there, click them, follow them, do your thing. Thank you guys so much for watching. We're going to be back next Thursday with another episode of the KoloCast. We'll see you guys then. Peace.
I just want to give a quick shout out to the wifey who helps make everything possible for me, Cindy. Today is our 15-year anniversary of being together. So I love you, and